in here. Let's get it started. Well, I am so glad you are here, and I'm also glad to be here. Have you ever had one of those trips where things didn't go right? 4 hours late, my flight, and I get in the rental car and I'm flying down the road because I'm already late, and I'm getting dressed on the interstate while I'm driving, which is not a good combination, and then I realize I've forgotten, so I call my wife and I'm like, honey, I forgot. She goes, what'd you forget this time? I said, I forgot socks. She goes, well, calm down, Sparky, they sell these in stores. I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. I don't have time. I'm late already, and I don't know where the shoe stores are. I just need to find it. I gotta go. I got socks. She goes, well, calm down. Okay. I think drugstores carry socks. I'm sure there's one on the way. Try a drugstore. Good news, drugstores carry dress socks. Bad news, drugstores only carry women's dress socks. Good news, they're really comfortable. And I'm sitting there, do I get them? Do I not get them? Do I get them? I don't have any time. Do I get them? I saw one size fits all. And I know some women with some pretty honking feet, okay? So I grabbed them and I actually wore them. Here they are. Okay, I want you to see these. All right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Woo. Now, some of you guys in the back are just going, those are just regular dress socks. He just wanted to show off his legs. Well, let me just tell you, men's dress socks do not do this. That is just wrong on a multitude of levels right there. Yeah, I think little white hair sticking out is my favorite part. I'm not wearing them again for two reasons. One, they do not make them very well, okay? One time. The other reason is I'm sitting there backstage, I'm going, God, can you tell? Can you not tell? I don't know where this thought came from, but I'm like, oh my gosh, do these make my hips look big? Not wearing them again. But I love the fact that my wife always has the answer. She is the smartest woman I've ever met. Literally the smartest, not only just beautiful, but smart. She would tell me how she was in advanced classes, tell her how I was in special classes. She used to get paid for her grades. Anybody here ever get paid for your grades? Did you really? That's incredible. How many of you, like me, 2 days before report cards practiced forging your parents' signature? Okay, yes, these are my people. My wife actually said this about a year after we were married. She goes, I don't know if I've ever told you this or not, but kindergarten through college, I only made 1 B. I was like, me too. Big deal. And not only is she smart, she's intimidating. Women, you know that you intimidate us, don't you? You realize this, right? You can say one thing just puts us in our place. My wife said, will you get that out of my purse? No. No, it's right there. Just get it out of it. Yeah, I see it. No. You keep things in there we don't want to know about, okay? Only thing worse than getting in the purse is holding the purse. Holding the purse. Oh, we're the makeup counter. She goes, will you hold this? I'm like, oh. She said, you're married. Just put it on your shoulder. I'm like, I did last time. And the guy at the Clinique counter kept hitting on me. Okay, leave me alone. If you're here tonight and you're single and you're a guy and you're thinking, dude, I wish I was married. I wish I was married. Here's what you do. You want to feel married? Here's what you do. You go to the mall. You go to a women's store. You go to the purse table, pick up the heaviest one they have. You walk to the back of that store where the dressing rooms are, and you just stand there. It feels just like you're married, okay? Get that out of your system. And it's not easy being single. How many singles here? Raise your hands if you're singles. Singles? Oh, right on. It's not easy being single. It's not easy being single. I remember being a single guy. All my friends, I had a lot of friends that were girls. This used to just drive me crazy. The girls would sit there bemoaning being single. Where are all the great guys? Did you think I was gay or married or what? Another thing worse than that is the married couples giving singles advice. Do you ever get this one? So are you seeing anybody? I see people everywhere I go. And they would say, but no, are you seeing somebody? Are you seeing anybody? Oh, no, I'm not really seeing anybody. And then the number one advice couples give singles, well, you know, when you're not looking, that's when you're going to find somebody. What a crock that is. How does that work? I'm not looking. I'm running into a lot of stuff, but I'm not looking. These are the same people who, when you do get married and you're trying to have children and you're struggling to do that, they'll tell you, well, you know, when you stop trying, that's when you'll get pregnant. Now, I made a D in biology. But I was there that day. And guys, let me just tell you, you're married, your wife comes to you after not trying for 6 months and goes, I'm pregnant. Her name better be Mary, and she better be on a donkey headed to pay her taxes, okay? It's the concept. Oh, I found a concept I wish I had when I was single. This is free. If you're single, this is free. I wish I had it when I was single. We went to Hawaii for our 10-year anniversary. I heard a word, aloha. Do you know what that word means? It means hello, and do you know what else it means? Love. Hello, goodbye, and love. Talk about eliminating the uncomfortable situations at the end of a date. You go to say goodbye, and you just, aloha. You figure it out. Just, wow. I wish I had that one. And what really makes, now that I'm married, I will say this, if you're single, I love watching single people watch each other. Men, you will never know if a girl's checking you out. You'll never know. Because at an early age, women begin to travel in herds. And if you walk in that door over there, they're like, oh my gosh, don't look now, don't look now. Oh my gosh, he's over there, don't look now. Okay, look at the reflection off of the wall. Do you see him? Oh my gosh, there he is, there he is. And you will never know. Inversely, God reached down and pulled this part out of the male DNA. Ladies, you will never have to wonder if a guy is looking at you. Attractive woman walks by, guy's like, And if you catch us looking, we don't look down, we don't look embarrassed. Here's what we came up with. We're staring, and you catch us, What is this? And that's supposed to, and it just amazes me that we ever get together in the first place. It really does. And then there's the more intimidation. If you're single and you think, well, if I just get past that, then I'll get married. Well, let me just tell you, you're just trading your issues. Because I used to think my father was an idiot. My mother would say something very simple like, hey, we need to fix that leaky faucet. My dad would stand there. We would walk by, say something, man. Now I know what he was doing. He was trying to figure out which she was talking about. Is that a me-we or a she-we or a we-we? Which we is? My wife said one time, we need some new spring clothes. And I'm like, I like my clothes. That doesn't matter because that was a she-we. We'd been married about a year. She goes, hey, we need to cut the grass. I thought, all right, I'm getting some help. Oh, no. That was a me-we. And at least once a month, I will come into the situation, stand in the kitchen, and my wife will say something like, hey, we need groceries, and I will be standing there. My boys walk through, say something, man! I don't know which way, leave me alone. Because it's not easy, it's not easy. I will say this one thing, because everybody has a glitch. And as beautiful as my wife is, as smart as my wife is, as intimidating as she has a glitch. And her glitch is something we call isms, Heather isms, because she says phrases that really don't make sense, except to her. We were talking with some friends the other day. She's saying what a great friend she is. She says, I am a great friend. I am as loyal as a heart attack. I don't think I want you to be my friend. And she gets it honestly. We were playing a game with her parents the other night. Her dad, after a move, says, hey, whatever, turns your boat. Would that be a rudder? Now, the great part is they usually pop up when we're having an argument, and they're just over. They're just over at that point. I'll give you an example. We were talking about our checkbook one day and going back and forth. She goes, well, you can't milk a dead horse. How do you argue with that? She caught me in something one time. She goes, you are treading in hot water. I said, honey, I can be treading on thin ice or I can be in hot water. But if I'm treading in hot water, that's a jacuzzi. Don't really mind being there. Now, I love this. She plays bunco with some of our neighbors in the neighborhood. Do you guys know what bunco is? It's a game, and it's a Greek word that stands for gossip while holding dice. Okay, that's what it means. And she came back one day and she goes, oh, I said, how did it go? Who was there? And she's telling me about it. And she goes, you know, I just needed that time with those other ladies. It's such a wonderful bondage experience. I don't think you can go back. One of my favorites, I was out in California on tour. I called her. I said, hey, honey, I said, I can't wait to get home. She goes, when are you coming home? I said, I land tomorrow afternoon. She goes, oh. I said, yeah, I got the first flight out in the morning. She goes, oh, man, you couldn't catch the Jedi flight? Yeah, I don't think Han Solo's doing that one anymore. Kind of hard to find a good Wookiee these days. And I mean, this comes out of a fundamental level of her being. We discovered this about 3 weeks ago, coming back from spring break. She's in the back seat trying to get our 2-year-old daughter to go to sleep in her car seat. And she sings, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Up above the earth so high, like a diamond in the sky. Then she looks at me and she goes, what's the next line? I said, QRS. And she's not alone. I love it that people have started writing these in and sending them to me. A buddy of mine calls me this past week. He's like, my boss in our meeting, he says, you know what, we got a busy quarter ahead of us, but let's not get the chicken in front of the horse. Okay. I did a state fair in Missouri. They said, go get something to eat at the hospitality tent. And this poor girl must have been in the sun too long. I said, hi, what do you got? She goes, hamburgers and hot dogs. I said, can I have a hot dog? She goes, yeah, would you like anything on that? I said, well, what do you got? She goes, well, you can get mustard or nothing or both. Well, give me both. Let's see you pull that one off. And then my favorite of the past year, I was in Montgomery, Alabama. I did a show in Montgomery. Come out from the show. It's 11:30 at night. I've got a flat tire. I'm like, doggone, I pull it, get it, the car's up and got a tire. It's flat spot, and a security guard comes by with a flashlight. So you got a flat tire? I'm like, yeah. And then he looks at it, and before I could say anything, he goes, yep, that's flat as a doorknob. It was all I had to not go, well, that must make you dumb as a pancake. And they're all around, and they're happening around me too, because I went in to wake up my son the other day for school. My oldest son, he loves school. I said, Grandma, are you ready for school? He goes, Dad, I'm happy as a muffin. You've been hanging out with Mom, haven't you? But I love my kids. I love my kids. I have 2 sons, Graham, my oldest, the happy as a muffin one, and then I have a 7-year-old, Cody. I love Cody. He's my fun one. And I came in from work, and I'm trying to get in shape, to get in shape. So I work out in the morning. Came into the kitchen, and he's sitting in my wife's lap going, Mommy, your face is so soft. She's like, well, Cody, yours is so smooth. And he says, Daddy, come here. Now, I've just worked out. I haven't showered or shaved. And he reaches up. He goes, oh, Daddy, your chin is prickly. And I'm like, oh, man. And he reaches back up and he goes, but your other chin is smooth. I'll go work out some more. No, I travel like 2 out of 3 weekends I'm gone, so this was a great surprise. I came in and Cody's Sunday school teacher says, I got to tell you what happened last week. And I'm like, oh boy. And she said, well, we're going to read the story. And Cody was talking to a little girl, and I said, Cody, it's time for the story. He goes, yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And she says, I didn't get one sentence in. He goes, starts talking to this little girl. And I'm like, Cody, it's story time. Yes, ma'am. And then she goes, I get 3 words in. He's like over there going, aloha, talking to this little girl. And she says, Cody, you need to pay attention. And he starts talking again. She goes, Cody, do you want me to get your dad? He said he looked around the table and went, my dad is out of town. I'm so proud. And if that's not enough, we have a third. We have a daughter who's 2 years old. And there's a difference. Now, how many of you have children? Raise your hands. Leave your hands up if you have more than one child. Okay, lost a few there. Okay, that's good. See, because one child, you're different with the first one, aren't you? First one, I remember Graham being born. No one holds the golden child. No one. Grandparents on their birthday maybe get to hold the golden child. With our third, Kennedy, I remember walking out of the delivery room. I had not eaten that morning. I remember walking out seeing a vending machine. There's a janitor standing there. I said, hey, dude, will you hold her for a minute? I got to get over there. It's different. First child, you take a picture every hour for the first 2 years. People ask me about Kennedy. Do you have any pictures of Kennedy? I'm like, you got a pen? Kind of looks like that. And then the great part, though, is in babysitting. You usually don't even go out when you have a child. And if your parents are in town, maybe the grandparents babysit, maybe. Third one, people go, do you get a sitter? Like, oh, yeah, we just use one of those off-ramp guys. We'll work for food. Hey, 2 Happy Meals. All right, go for that. It's amazing. It's so different. But Kennedy, man, if you have boys and girls, you'll know this is true. How many of you have girls and know that girls are different? Oh, yes. She is 2 years old. She was 2 years old. She came down a little grumpy one day. Heather says, do you want to get a better attitude or do you want to sit on the steps? She looked at her and went sat on the steps. 2. She came back a half hour later. I'm happy now. She lets us know this is her world. She just lets us live in it. Had a tragedy. First, she was 12 months old, decided to take her first step. Tragic. Twisted wrong, broke her leg. Literally, first step. Took her to the doctor. Sure enough, shows us the x-ray. Left distal tibia, broke her leg. Said, here's the x-ray, have it cast tomorrow. My wife takes her, and I said, how did it go? She goes, I don't think it went well. I think she might have hurt her other leg. I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, she won't put any weight on it. And I said, well, take out the x-ray. We found out. They put the cast on the wrong leg. Apparently, they're not teaching alphabet in medical school anymore. So we take her back. And here's the part I was just thinking about. She's 12 months old, and she's sitting there while they're casting her. I'm thinking, what is she thinking? I know you're the big people. Not really sure what the stiff thing on the good leg's going to do me, though. The doctor apologized. He says, I'm really sorry, but good news. They're little that age. 6 weeks, she'll be running around everywhere. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, she couldn't even walk before. If this works, we're going to break her jaw, see if she can talk. But it's so funny. Oh, and then we had one about that time. My wife said, I think she's got a fever. And she goes, oh, my gosh, I'm worried. Will you go get it? And so we had thrown away all the other baby stuff. My wife said, I don't have the thermometer. If you're not familiar with this, babies, you have to have a special thermometer. It's called a rectal thermometer, okay? So I ran out, got it, and we take it. She was okay. But I'm sitting here reading the instructions. I want to make sure I do this right. And now let me take a quick aside. If this week at any point you thought, man, I hate my job. My job stinks. I hate my job. On the bottom of this, before I threw it away, I noticed on the bottom it actually said, each thermometer has been individually tested. Your job's not that bad. Just picturing this poor guy coming home from work. Oh. Honey, sit down. No. You look sad. What's wrong? Well, next week, I got to work overtime. Oh. That's not right. It's not right. I love being a husband. I love being a dad. I really do. But there's certain parts of being a dad that don't make sense. I have no money. I make money. I just don't have money. My daughter and me are different. I have a duct tape wallet. I'm not making this up. This is my wallet. It is made of duct tape. From a camp 2 years ago from my boys. My daughter, who has never had a job and has no money, has 5 purses. That only makes sense if you're a dad. I go to the ATM. I go to deposit a check. I let my son, I said, punch in the secret code, punch in the amount, punch in deposit. And I said, now put the envelope in, and he puts it in, and he goes. I said, what? He said, where's the money? I said, it's a deposit. We just put the deposit in. And he goes, Mom always gets money. Yes. That is the way it works. My wife got a part-time job. She's done very well. We have our money and her money. Her money and our money. I still have no money. It's amazing to me the way that works. And over time, I got to thinking, you know what? There's got to be something to this. There's got to be something to this. And it's about being a dad. See, being a dad, things happen. And I want to know from some of you who have been a dad for a while when these things happen. Because I started noticing some of them in me, and I'm scared because I've seen some of you. My dad used to give me a hard time about having long hair. I had a big afro when I was a kid, long hair. And I felt bad about it until I saw him go swimming. My dad had very short hair except for this thing on top. And when it got wet... Have you seen these comb over things? It's like, they grow at like 8 feet long. And I was at the bank the other day, in line behind a guy. He had a part right here. I wanted so badly for him to turn around so I could go, see what would happen. I'm going to give away a secret that I'm going to get kicked out of the man club for this. If your husband is a dad and you ever want him to stop doing something that's irritating, or whether it's something he says, he wears, or he does, here's how you end it. All you got to do is next time he says it, does it, or wears it, you just go, that is so neat. And he'll say, what? And then you repeat whatever it is he said, did, or wore, and then you add the words, that is just like your dad. He will never say it, he will never wear it, he will never do it again. You can tell how old a tree is by how many rings it has. You can tell how old a man is by how high his waistline is. This is junior high. And then you get up to around high school, then college. And then at some point in time, that just crawls up there. My dad meets me at the door like this now. He'll go, hey, you got a little spare tire on there, son? Spare tire? Not me. I wear the same waist size I wore in high school. I'm like, yeah, Dad, but I never have the problem of getting underarm deodorant on my waistband. That never happens to me. Never happens. And what gets me is that, I mean, I look at some of these guys and they got their shorts up and their hair swooped, wearing dark socks with flip-flops. And at some time, they looked in the mirror and went, oh, this looks good. Okay. When does that happen? I've told my wife, keep a gun with one bullet. When it happens, put me out of my misery. Just end it. God. But it's amazing to me that, you know, in time, not only do I see that as a dad, but life can get difficult. It can just be hard sometimes. I was flying from Corpus Christi, Texas to Phoenix, Arizona. Now get the geography on this. Texas to Arizona. I get to the airport at 5:45 in the morning. I go, yeah, I'm flying to Phoenix. And they go, oh, I'm sorry, your flight's been canceled. There was a winter storm in Atlanta. He says, but good news, we've rebooked you. We'll have you there tonight at 9:30. And I said, is there another flight? He's like, oh, no, that's the best we can do. I'm like, that's the best you can do? I said, it's 5:50 in the morning. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the best we can do. That's the best you can do? I said, you're telling me from right now, 5:50 in the morning till tonight at 9:30, there's only one airplane leaving from this region of the country flying to Phoenix, Arizona? And he says, well, of course not. I said, okay, let's start there and work backwards. And he types, well, you probably won't want to do this, but I can tell you from Corpus, Houston, Salt Lake, Phoenix, and you can be there by 4:30. I'm like, do that. And he says, okay. I said, do I need to take my bag? No, we'll take care of it. It was going great until I got to Salt Lake City. I thought I had 2 hours, but I didn't because I heard my name over the loudspeaker. Kenn Kington, please report to gate E18 immediately. Kenn Kington, E18. I'm like, crud. I took off running. I get to gate E18, and I'm like, I'm Ken. Is the flight still here? Is it like, oh, yeah, it's not for another hour and a half. I'm like, well, you called my name. They're like, oh, are you Ken? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, you need to talk to those guys. 2 ramp workers, the knee pads and the headphones. And I said, hi, I'm Kenn Kington. Is there something I can help you with? They're like, oh, do you want to tell them or you want me to tell them? I said, tell me what? They said, I don't know how to tell you this, but your bag, it didn't make it. And I fly 200 flights a year. That happens a couple times a year. And I said, well, did it not make it from Corpus to Houston or Houston to here? And they both looked, they went, no, it got here, but it didn't make it. I said, I'm so sorry, I'm not following you. I'm so sorry, I'm a little slow, and I was in special class, you know, so I'm just... And he says, well, see, there was a roll or an accident. Your bag is gone. We think we saved most of what was inside of it, but your bag is gone. I said, can I see it? And they both went, no. I said, I can't see it. And they said, the biggest piece is about this big. And sure enough, when I finally got my stuff, it had exploded on the tarmac. There were airplane wheel marks across my clothes. I said, well, okay. I said, well, is there a reason why you called me? They said, yeah, we're putting it in a temporary container. We just want to let you know you can make a claim when you get to Phoenix. I'm like, okay. And they said, well, you're taking this pretty well. I'm like, well, you know, is there anything I can do? I'm like, no, but, you know, is the flight on time? Yeah. So I get to Phoenix. And I'm sitting there at the baggage claim. Now, it's not like Atlanta where it comes out of the bottom or out the sides at most airports. In Phoenix, there's 2 that come out of the ceiling, and they come down. And I'm standing there with about 80 people when it dawns on me. As the luggage begins to come down, I have no idea what I'm looking for. I figure I'll just wait. And then it became painfully obvious what I was looking for. I want you to picture the largest garbage bag you have ever seen. And the reason I knew it was mine is because it was clear. Here comes my shoes and my underwear, and these 2 ladies behind me are like, oh, good Lord, who would do that? So now I'm going to let everybody leave before I leave. And that didn't work. People are taking their luggage and then watching this thing go around, you know. finally I'm like, I gotta go. So I picked this up, and the two ladies are like, oh, good Lord. And I'm like, I look like some hobo Santa Claus walking through the airport. But you know what? Life happens like that. And I need help, and people need help, and we need each other, and we need help. And I wish there were signs for help, but there's not. There's signs for everything else, but not for things that matter. I was in Orlando, Florida. If you're ever down there, look in I-4. In the median on I-4 in Orlando, Florida, they have a sign. They have paid hundreds of dollars to put this sign up. Do not mow. Apparently, there's some renegade landscapers in Florida driving around going, hey, Bubba, you see any cops? Break out the John Deere, we're cutting some grass. Woo! And they're dumbing down signs. They used to have a sign, Deer Crossing. Do you remember that one? Then they changed it to get on the Christmas theme, Deer Xing. Apparently that was too hard, so now it's just a picture of a deer. I shared that in Ohio. This guy came up and goes, I can't believe you said that. He says, my wife hit a deer less than 100 yards from one of those signs last week. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. He's like, no, that's not what I'm telling you. He says, they called me. I went out. She was okay, and I couldn't help it. I said, honey, did you not see the sign? Her response, I never thought they'd come from the other way. You're going to need to give me the keys. And the signs they could do pictures for, they don't. Bump. Bump. Or dip. Oh, no, they spell those out. I'm just wondering what the poor foreign drivers in our country are doing when that comes up, you know? Hey, Franz, this sign, come up here. What this sign mean here? I think this sign mean bump. Now, I talked to a friend of mine at DOT. I said, how much are those signs? He says they're like $300 to $500 to make them. And it costs a crew anywhere from $300 to $500 to put them in. Here's my idea. Why not just take the $1,300 and fix the bump? Maybe it's just me. Yeah. And I got the foreign driver thing made me think of this. I was doing a show called Good Morning Jacksonville, and I'm sitting there. We're about to come out of commercial, and I'm sitting there, and the lady says, the host says, you need to put your foot down. We're about to come out of commercial. I'm like, why? She goes, well, that's offensive in some cultures. I'm like, what is? She said, showing the bottom of your foot. You can't do that. And I was like, really? I said, that would never work here. She goes, what do you mean? I said, can you imagine driving in traffic and somebody cut you off? Hey! It's not going to work. Oh, this was one of my favorites. We went to Maui for our 10-year anniversary. We're on the road to Lahaina, beautiful mountains and the cliffs and the water, and we're pulling up to where the mountain goes into the ocean, and there's a tunnel 10 feet in front of the tunnel. 10 feet in front of the tunnel, there's a sign with one word, and all it says is tunnel. Who is struggling with this? Who is driving going, oh, there's a hole! There's a hole in the mountain! There's a hole! Oh, it's a tunnel! I didn't see the sign! Tunnel! Who knew? Oh, and then there's my favorite sign of all time. Slow children playing. I just want to drive through that neighborhood and see the kids going. See, I'm allowed to do that because they were all in my special class, okay? But this is even better. Do you know what they've replaced that with? The children playing sign. Do you know what it is now? It's a picture of a seesaw. When did this interfere with driving? Imagine those poor foreign drivers going, oh, Lord, They're launching children into the road. It's just not right. It's not right. And then I got to thinking in my life, there's times where I think, you know what? I don't get it. Being a dad, I don't get it. And it's becoming more confusing. Used to be able to just dress, jeans and khakis, you're fine. And I used to be able to do events where I just say, hey, it's either dressy or casual. Now it's like confused. Say business casual. What does that mean anymore? Used to mean no tie, then no tie, no coat, then no tie, no coat, maybe khakis, then no tie, no coat, maybe khakis, maybe jeans, maybe t-shirt. Now it's t-shirt, short, flip-flops. It's going to be a Speedo pretty soon is what it's going to be. Honey, where's my loincloth? It's casual day. And then I did this event in Arizona. I said, what's the dress? They said, snappy casual. What the crud is that? I had to go down to my gay neighbors and go, dudes, help me out. Snappy casual, what is it? Ken, you are casual, but you are not snappy. I mean, it's confusing, but I love my life. I love it. And I had an epiphany, a moment where it all came together. This past summer, we were coming back from vacation. 10 minutes, packed up, and we're going 10 minutes. Come to a red light. As I'm at the red light, I look out the window. There's a brand new pickup truck right next to me. I'm like, oh. And then I looked in the back. There's a beautiful golden retriever with the head out the window. I'm like, oh, cool dog. And in the back, brand new Harley Davidson chrome package. The guy looked over. I'm just like, because that's what we do. And he looked over at me and he kind of hung back and kind of laughed. And I was like, what is he laughing at? And then it dawned on me, I'm in a minivan. It is impossible to look cool in a minivan. And I'm not buying really cool toys for thousands of dollars. I'm spending hundreds of dollars on things you don't call your friends about. I don't go, hey, Rob, come over. I've got a new water heater. No, we'll wash our hands. That'll be great. You don't do that. And so I started to distract myself. I kind of fiddled with the mirror and I saw something I have never seen before in my life. On the top of my ear, there is a hair growing straight out. It's like this long. That's not the bad part. I looked at my wife. I said, Heather, look at this. Her response, oh yeah, I saw that the other day. What? You thought I wanted that there? Braid it with the others, make a little ponytail or something? That was interrupted by my two boys in the back fighting over who gets to pick the movie and who gets the electronic Ritalin. And that was interrupted by them going, Daddy, Kennedy smells bad. And sure enough, the smell waves forward and I'm thinking, 10 minutes. We've been on the road 10 minutes. Why not 10 minutes ago? Why not 10 minutes from now? And if you are a dad, you know what I was doing. I'm calculating how far can I go, focused, without having to stop before this smell burns my eyes shut. That is interrupted by my dog discovering the other dog and begin to barking at that dog. I call him a dog. I wanted a dog. My wife said, let's get a dog. And I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking German Shepherd, Golden Retriever. We have a 12-year-old, 4.5-pound Yorkshire Terrier. It's like having a barking hamster. The only thing dog size on my dog is his tongue. If you took a German Shepherd tongue, grafted it to a gerbil, that's what I've got. He falls asleep, the drool spot is bigger than he is. And the light turned green, and we began to go. And as we drove off, it was as if this voice came to my head, Ken, if you could switch right now, if you could choose right now, you could choose the new truck and the new dog and the cool motorcycle, or you can keep the minivan and the wife that leaves you hanging and the kids in the back of the smell and the barking hamster. Which do you want? I got to tell you, 10 times out of 10, I would choose the minivan because I have found more joy and more purpose and more fulfillment and more comedy material in the minivan. 'Cause, 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 'cause That is why the greatest joy of my life and what I do is because I am a dad. God bless you and thank you for coming tonight.